They just start screaming like 1, 2, 3 in one of the songs.
Yeah.
Mic check.
Yeah.
We need that. That should be our opening.
You guys do need an opening.
We do.
Yeah,
you got to keep those structures
Yeah.
the same every time.
What should it be? What should our opening be, do you think?
I think Ben should just sing a song.
You think Ben should sing our opening?
Well, he's a musician.
I can be your hero, baby.
Oh, I love Enrique.
You can take my breath away.
Oh, you
He
even
went like
threw
more
that?
Spanish than Enrique.
Yeah, how did you possibly manage to get more Spanish than Enrique? Oh, wow. Ben,
Yeah.
how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's going great. It's going really good.
Oh, man, this has been... I've been pretty stressed about this. I don't know.
I know you've been freaking out. You were going to cancel Ben last week
I
because he
was
couldn't
like,
figure this out.
listen, everything that could... The learning curve for this is wild. This is the epitome of biting off more than you can chew. We are literally like, okay, let's do this video podcast thing. And then now it's like learning curve after roadblock after we're like, this started out as like, like a fun thing. And we're just like, now it's a labor of love. And we're like, the honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah.
Now we're just working.
It's almost better that the honeymoon phase finishes quickly so you can actually just,
Yeah.
the
Enjoy
ideas are birthed, and then there's joy, and then there's this honeymoon phase, and then it inevitably goes away and you have to actually execute.
Yeah. Joy lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was ready to shut this right down.
And this was Justin's idea too. He's like,
It started on a really solid note. I don't think I'm good enough for this. This is way too much work and effort.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. When we walked in here and it took us 2 hours to set up for like a 30-minute talk, I was like, this is not right.
This is not sustainable.
Right. Yeah.
How are we going to do this? Yeah, super
Well,
fun.
on that note, I'm honored.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a part of our beautiful mess we have going on here.
Yeah.
But so it's again, we apologize in advance if this ends up being super sucky because we're totally winging it. But like we think we still think it's super fun, and I think what we're doing here is like kind of important, and could maybe be something that could be fun for people to watch and listen to. So
That's what we're going for.
that's what we're going
Sounds
for.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I had thought of making. I love golf more than I have in the last few years, and I thought of making a page called the Mediocre Golf Company.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's pretty much like the way you just open this up is like, this may be the most mediocre podcast ever. Like your pitch on what, like to anyone listening, what you're about to listen to may not be good. And that was the sales pitch on it, like that would, for the Mediocre Golf Company, it's like, listen, what you're about to watch is a bunch of double bogeys and maybe a par. And I hope you enjoy. Don't expect anything more than that.
That's it.
If there's a birdie, we'll all rejoice together.
Yes.
And that's really what we're aiming for.
That one snippet out of this hour-long conversation is the gold.
So I support it. I support it, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
if you want to see the good stuff, just fast forward to mile marker 3 minute and 42.
Your actual podcast is just telling people the best moments to go to.
Skip this.
That's actually the name of the podcast. Skip this.
Skip this.
The good real estate.
This part.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hey,
So we're going to talk about your hat now for 30 minutes.
Yeah, great. I mean, I really can if you'd like to.
Your hat is pretty sick, though. We were talking about it before. It's an Nordiques hat, right?
The Quebec Nordiques. I don't know what it was, but probably a month ago, I'm scrolling on Insta, and it just comes up. And I don't know if you've ever had that in your life, and it's so dumb. That was my phone.
It's okay. Skip that part.
But I'm scrolling, and it just stuck out to me. And this is it's a stupid hat, and I don't really wear hats all the time. And I think I thought when I go golfing, I'd like to have kind of a crazy hat.
Yeah.
I don't know how to dress when I golf, to be honest. I'm a skateboarder who, when I wear a collared shirt, I'm like, I feel stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm still I think the first time I went golfing, I had this like identity crisis to a nice golf course. And I'm like, Jenna, who am I? And she's looking at me wearing this like weird, I have one collared shirt in my closet. And she's like, this is disgusting. Whatever you're disgusting. Wearing. So I've been working out this golf identity a bit where I'm like, if I wear like kind of all black and then a cool hat, these are my thoughts. But also I just thought it was sick. I always loved the Quebec Nordiques. And so truly, I was hyped and waiting for this hat to come in the mail. When it came in, I was stoked because it was actually like, you know, the green underneath, like legit corduroy hat. Here's the cool thing though. I'm just feeling like there's life on this hat. Since I've had this hat, I went out yesterday, so I love that you're talking. 7 different people are like, dude,
that's the best.
I love that hat.
It's
I'm like,
conversation.
I'm like, started. I know. I'm on the airplane, and a dude, this is like 4 days ago, and he's like, no, we're in the line waiting to go, and he's like, love that hat, brother. Like, I'm like, this hat.
That is everything.
I love this hat. So,
it's amazing.
You know?
I mean, even Justin was like, yeah, your hat's sick. Like, as soon as we came in.
It's rad.
So, right? I mean, I love it.
I mean, like, who gets a light blue corduroy hat with red Quebec Nordiques on it? Yeah. I mean, you can't be the only one. There's got to be other people out there, but for sure.
Well, there's definitely 7 people that are looking for it right
now.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
7 people in the last 20. Yeah.
I'm authentically hyped on it, and it doesn't fit me well. I feel like it fits a bit weird. Yeah. It's changing who I am as a person, but I just love it.
Can I also just say I love how much thought you have put into like your golf attire and how you are representing yourself on the golf course?
I still haven't figured it out, but I'm like, if I wear a cool hat and look a little dumb, that's cool. But see, I'm not also good enough to be outrageous on the golf course. Do you know, like,
so you gotta be subtle.
Well, yeah, because you know, if you're really good, you can like make those calls and do a beautiful draw. You know, like, but if you suck and you look outrageous, you're just an idiot. You know, like, I don't have enough confidence out there to look outrageous with. So I'm working my way into that.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the brand though for the mediocre golfer.
Yeah,
it's like it's totally just like a wild look and like very average golf. The world's most okayest golfer.
Yeah, I think the slogan could be, "We're working on it." This is what you can
expect. This is the work in progress. Yeah,
exactly. Working on it.
We're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
exactly right.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
awesome.
Like when I was thinking about like having you in, I was like, all right, like Mary's like, you got to tell like funny stories and stuff, and I was like, you know what? Do you remember when we went to the hockey game?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty, like, I only knew you for like a year or 2 or so, I think at that point, and I took you, and it was your birthday.
Yeah.
And the only thing you yelled the whole game was, "It's my birthday," and you were like up there and animated, and "It's my birthday." They'd score, "It's my birthday," and everybody around us is like high fiving you and stuff. And I remember I got home like, that guy's like out of control. He just like.
And how many hockey games have you been to with Justin since that?
Only one, actually, as a matter of fact. It was a classic extrovert introvert moment, and usually an introvert will take that into their hearts and go, yeah, no, that was a good single time that we did that, and I don't need to put myself through that again in the future.
Oh, we had fun.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time. Yeah.
That's funny. And then Justin immediately sold his season tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Man, I am like... I'm just like... Now I'm like kind of reeling as to what we're going to talk about here, because we've tried to prepare some stuff like to try to keep this on this train on the tracks.
I think you should.
So
I think you should. I think we should honor that.
Let's do that. But also, like, again, we don't want this to be interviewee, so let's make it like a good conversation. So a couple things that I did want to like quickly talk to you about was you just went to Disneyland, right? Like, how was it, man? Tell us about it.
Yeah. No, it was I think what I can talk about, so Disney's awesome, and we've been there 3 times, which is super bougie to say, but we love it. We love it as a family. Haven't been in a while. We went for 1 day, and Disney itself is super fun. And then the next day we went to Universal. For me, I'll just say this: driving into LA on the freeway and
the worst.
Oh my gosh, and not even the traffic. I mean, the traffic's crazy, but the juxtaposition of what the highway looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not even in LA, but like everything, like I felt, and sorry to anybody, like as if we're gonna have like friggin' people from LA watching.
Yeah, listen, don't insult our LA
sorry
listeners.
to all of you guys.
Yeah, don't insult our 10 legged highways.
All watching.
Yeah.
sorry. Anyways, it felt like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Like there's graffiti everywhere, there's homelessness everywhere, and again, I'm not even in the city, I'm just on like that outskirt highway that takes you. It was wild. Like it actually, like I'm like, you got to think of what we have here at home, you know, where I live out on the acreage. Like I get a breath every day with just how beautiful life feels out here.
Yeah.
And so it's quite a juxtaposition. And 2, the way that everything is purported to be over there, right? All of the production, like the juxtaposition of, you know, LA and the hills, but really you go there and you're like, this, I don't want to get, like, Lord, please there's no reason why my car should break down, but please let my car keep working.
Right.
So that I don't have to be on the side of the road. And then it's crazy. Then you drive into Universal Studios and it's just like this switch of like, where are we?
Yeah.
So we're not gonna die? Like it's crazy. So that's my little editorial there. I think on the side of taking my actual highlight from the trip, and I'm at that spot with my kids at 14, 12, 10, and 8.
Yeah.
This crazy thing happens in life where as they get older, you really do recognize, like my 14-year-old has, sorry Tallulah, boobies, and is taller than my wife. Sorry again to the millions of followers that are going to be hearing this, but it's trippy.
Sorry, listener.
Yeah, sorry about that, Sean, that you had to hear that and be a part of that. But it's crazy, and like, you know, I remember her being born yesterday, but she's 14.
Yeah.
And she'll be my girl forever, but she's going to be 18 in 4 years.
That's freaky.
And so my brain as a father goes into this feeling of, man, I really just actually want to take in the moments, but it's not the good moments. I just want to take in every moment. And I loved traveling with my kids. It was actually awesome. Yeah. We all did carry on, so we didn't do any check bags. So like there's all 4 of us and they each have a backpack, and all of us have a little rolly cart. So we're just this convoy going, and we had to do like 3 flights to get over to LA, and just and you know, for, let's say 8 years ago, it's a nightmare just trying to go to McDonald's with 4 children, right? You're like, I'm never leaving. But now that they're all older, like we're all like, I said to the kids on the drive home, guys, I loved traveling with you. Like you were all awesome, and everybody fights and bickers, and that's all part of it, but it's like, we did that.
Yeah.
We probably did 6 different flights, and you're all cool kids, and that was fun.
Nice.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm just realizing on this trip that I like you.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was. It's a wonderful realization to come to, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was great, and
the
whole trip was great.
And everything, and you guys traveled with another family too, right?
Yeah, five of their kids.
Wow.
So 13 of us.
Holy moly!
Yeah,
that's crazy. And you guys crushed Disneyland in like, what was it, 1 day, 2 days?
Disneyland 1 day, Universal another day, and then we flew up to Redding, and there's a church there called Bethel, so we did a conference there with all of our kids and just had a wicked time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was that always part of the plan, or did you guys like... Oh.
No, Bethel was actually the anchor of the trip.
Oh, I see.
And we just kind of threw in those other 2 days to...
Yeah.
Might as well do those as well.
That actually makes more sense, that you would you would do that in that order. Like you were like, okay, we're going to go down for this, but we're going to be here, so we might as well do Universal and Disney.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Actually, and you mentioned your acreage, and that's the next thing that I want to talk about, because Oh man,
I could fill 48 minutes talking about my acreage. So just be careful.
Let's
vision me into exactly what.
But really, what I want, like, really, the interesting thing that I think I want to like kind of hone in on here is the trade. Like, to me, this is crazy. Fucking wild. Like, I've been doing, like I told Stacy, I'm like, I've been selling real estate since 2005, which I don't know how many years that is because I don't do math well, but in my time, I've seen a lot of people like attempt to do like a trade. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because often there's no, like, they're never going to match up perfectly, right? So it's be like, I'll trade your exact house for my exact house, right? So it's like such a weird thing. But for you to actually execute and to do this trade, like for an acreage for a house in the city, is just crazy. So like, can you like kind of tell us like how that went down in a short version?
I think I've written this one out and explained it enough that I can probably condense it. It's wild, and we weren't, and that's kind of how we function in our life is we live life by our gut, and we've learned to hone that skill and trust that feeling, and then more than anything, execute on it.
Right.
Period. End of story. Right. And I mean, that's how Jenna and I have functioned in our life and in our marriage from the moment we met each other. And it's weird and it doesn't make sense. And it's on the outside, sometimes we look insane over the course of our time together. But that's the skill we've learned is, oh man, we feel like we hear this. It feels right to the two of us. Execute. Right. Like, just just send it, bro. Like, put the Viper Pit glasses on and send it. And so really with that as the foundation, we had thought about having an acreage for some time, but really we had just renoed our entire home and loved it and had the sickest movie room down in the basement.
Yeah, you guys did a ton of work.
Good. And we had talked about an acreage, but at the same time, being a busy realtor, I'm like, can't even mow my backyard. And I'm like, how am I going to manage an acre? Right? Like, it does not pan out. So we just had that like in our hands, perhaps, but it wasn't something we were looking for. And to tell the story as quickly as I can, or as pointedly as I can, I went out. So I had a couple call me out to their acreage. And just like any other appointment, I drove out there, and it was beautiful. I drove up, and it was beautiful. It's one of those ones as a realtor where you're like, I don't know what this really looks like, and I haven't looked it up in advance. So as you drive up, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a cool realtor today, right? Like,
this is the headline Instagram.
Right? You're like, oh, this is gonna be sweet, you know. And so I go in, and the couple that's there, we kind of all run in the same circles in our lives. So there's just a great connection there. And so I walk into their house, and there's these giant windows, and at that time, right around spring, there's these thick snowflakes coming down, these cathedral style windows, and there's trees in the back, and they've got their wood burning fireplace going, and I'm just like, but not thinking about myself as a realtor. I'm like, this place is gorgeous, this is so cool. And I got to stress, I was not thinking like I'm dumb, like, no, I'm just doing an evaluation. So we walk around, I see the place, and we sit at their table, and I basically tell them what I think it's worth. And they had bought it from the original owners that owned it for 10 years. And so it was this custom built place, and they had won it in 6 offers when it came on the market.
Oh, wow.
And when they bought it, it was the fullness of 2009. So we're talking blood red walls, slate tile floors, pine, like think of like black quartz countertops, right? Like just 2009. But in the 2 years, and in 2000, so in the 2 years that they owned it, they did it some beautiful updating renos, floors, countertops, like some really good, smart things that brought it to today's standards. Anyways, all that to say, gave them the price, and I left. And at that point, I was like, in my brain, in the next 3 or 4 days, just, you know, when you have a listing and they're gonna list with me, we know that,
right?
So I'm just, oh, this is great. This is going to be so fun. Like, you just have those thoughts run into your brain. This is going to be so fun. Awesome. You're just feeling great. And as I'm in that mode, I just have this this picture that Jenna drew like 15 years ago. She would draw when we had no money, and Jenna was always able to reach ahead and like, oh, this is what I'm dreaming about. And I'd be like, I would like to pay our bill. Right. I don't know how we're going to do that. Right. Like, right. So she always had that ability to like look ahead, and I didn't. So she would draw pictures of her dream layout of a house just on a piece of paper. And immediately as I'm just hanging out, this image of sort of this rectangle that had an L, and the L was like the garage adjacent, like a triple. And then she had like a dance room on top of the garage with these big windows, and the L had the kitchen underneath, and there was a 2-story overlooking this fireplace room, all of this stuff. And it just, in a moment, I was like, that's, oh my gosh, that's her. This house I just walked into is this layout she drew 15 years ago. So in that, I just went to her and I said, Jenny, you got to look at this layout. You got to look at this house. And I could only show her the old 2009 pictures. But she felt it too. And my client had sent me a couple of their pictures. Yeah. I did it kind of sneaky, like, hey, could you, as a realtor, could you send me a couple photos of that kitchen again? You know, and we both felt it in our guts.
Yeah.
And so after that point, I reached out to them and said, could we actually, me personally, look at your house? Like, it's always a little touchy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so they were cool with that. I do have to say this because this is a very funny thing. So we went and looked on Jenna's birthday. We loved it. I texted them like 20 minutes or an hour later. Well, ... we love it! ! And she texted back, oh my gosh, Ben, I'm literally being wheeled into surgery right now. Can my husband just talk to you after? I'm like, oh yeah, no, of course, that's fine. So basically that day we decided we liked it and we're going to move forward, and worked out even the price we want to do. And then it was about 4 days later. So again, I'm so simple, guys. 4 days later, my friend is talking to me and he goes, so where are they moving to? And I'm like, oh, Spruce Grove. And he's like, oh, what kind of house are they looking for? Oh, something back in green space, and like either a new build or something that's done really well. And he's like, what's their budget? I'm like, oh, about $550. And he's like, Ben, what are you doing, bro? Like, why don't they buy your house? And I'm like, oh,
wait a second.
Totally.
Yeah, this is
so up. Like, dude, it's, you know, and this is much like your guys' podcast. Like, my life is like, I will just move. I will continue moving ahead. Pieces will come in as they go, and we will call it something at the end, right? You know, it will become something. And so I reached out to them, and said, do you guys want to look at our house? Which is, by the way, being a realtor and doing this 10 years, we steward that for people, and so it's very normal to us, but man, that's personal. And I know it is. I know it is for my clients, and I empathize, but like, do you want to look at my house?
Right?
And like,
even just to ask that question.
It's very vulnerable. And so we got our house the cleanest it's ever been in like 10 years. And then they came through and looked. And so me and Jenna drove around, and we're like, oh my God, that one baseboard, I know there's a mark on it. Like, and I'm hearing all my clients talk to me from the last 8 years. I'm like, I feel you. You know, and it was about an hour later, they left, and me and Jenna are driving, and we get this text. Well, ... we love it! ! Now in that moment, me and Jenna are in the car, and like it was this moment of joy. Like we just like burst out laughing hysterically, like both just like this is insane. And I love this. I responded back, sorry, I'm just about to be wheeled into surgery. Can we talk about this later?
That's the best.
So that's almost my favorite part of the story.
That's good.
So then really, guys, from that point, we just executed on it. We negotiated the next day. I wrote 2 contracts with my own name on them, which was so trippy. And they were so awesome. And even our negotiations, you know, maybe a few awkward moments, but there was just so much goodwill everywhere, all around, that really I believe everybody was happy, and it wasn't that difficult. But again, weird negotiating for yourself,
right? But
you're not trying to get a deal. You want the best for everybody. It's just funky. And then at the end of the day, we removed conditions and moved in 3 weeks later. I don't think my family even knew until like after we removed conditions.
Crazy.
So
It's a pretty awesome story.
It is.
I
An
didn't
awesome
know
story.
all those little details,
Yeah.
but that's pretty cool.
I hope that wasn't too long.
No,
No.
that was actually like perfect. That was perfect.
I think that's like the perfect story for just this one
Yeah.
episode.
Wicked,
right?
wicked. Yeah. And I will say, we went in and talked later with my lawyer, who I've known for 10 years. I love her, and I know her personally. And she looks at me and she goes, I've maybe done one house swap in my life.
Yeah.
She goes,
Right?
never has it been the realtor
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
administrating all of this. Like, this is impossible. And I was like, I know.
But get it done, please.
Yeah. It is. It's so crazy. Like, yeah. And that element I didn't even think about. Like, it's wild to think about, like, how many, like I said, how many attempts I've seen at things like this have happened. Even something as simple as like, oh, we're going to trade, along with a deal. Like, I'm sure you've seen weird stuff like this too. Like, we're going to trade you, or attempt to trade you, a boat for a trailer or something like that, right? It's like some weird thing. And it's like, they can't even come together
like,
on.
What year is the boat? What color are the seats? Are you getting the seats redone?
Yeah.
Can we? Who's going to give the new covers on the seats? Can we decide?
How do you store it in winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like, you've
so,
got-
like, you think about those little eccentricities and like how difficult it would be just to line up something like that, and then like I said, for you to pull this off with that, and of course, being a realtor, I mean, I feel like that's an advantage for sure for both of you, but I just think like it's literally heart surgery, like what you did. Let's just put it this way. I feel like it would take two very special, like-minded people who are very easygoing to be able to make that a reality, right? Because there's so many different like things that could derail that in any way, that it's just like, I don't know, it's wild to me that you guys put it together, and I'm super pumped for you.
Yeah. No, we feel amazed. Yeah.
Oh,
That's great. It's awesome. Well, congrats on the purchase.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's a really good
good way
point to stop on this one.
Not bad,
We
boys.
can do like a little switcheroo.
Not
and,
bad.
Take a drink of water and
Sounds good.
start
Back
over.
at it.
All right. What was the thing that you said that you're the skateboarding?
Well, we are back, huh? We're back here at the 9 Club.
I like
That's
that.
how he does it every single time.
Consistency is
We
key.
need something like that. We need something like a fun little like thing, because I feel like if I try to do it, it sounds so weird and awkward. I'm like, hey,
Let's figure it out. Let's
Okay.
figure it out
Or
right now.
ask ChatGPT to give you some suggestions.
Chat GPT, send me
Give
what?
me podcast
Give me
opening
podca-
suggestions. Give you 100.
Like,
I don't even know.
I like that. Hey.
Just super awkward, like
Sure.
no tone, whatever. Hey,
Hey, you guys.
like, so it's like,
You could
what's his name from the Goonies?
Yeah, that'd
Are we
be
doing
good.
that?
Hey, you guys.
You guys.
We're back
That'd be pretty.
All
with
right.
Ben Loates
There it
today.
is, Mr. Bugatti.
Yeah,
Welcome
Mr.
to the
Bugatti.
podcast.
Happy to be here, boys. It's been a rough morning, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, sweet.
We could have done a podcast with all your different personas.
Actually,
Can we?
yes.
Actually, we can do
Would
a whole
this actually
With
be?
Benjamin Almond, I'll come
Yes.
as Benjamin Almond.
Yes.
I will absolutely come as Bugatti.
Oh my God.
And what are? There's more.
Who else do you have? So Benjamin Almond is the nature nut, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And-
Which I actually found out that John Acorn, the nature nut, watched that video.
Oh, that's
No
rad.
way.
Yes, and I knew that.
There's an actual person that's based on?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
he was like, "This guy's biting my."
You're like, I never thought it would get that
Yeah.
far.
There's Bugatti, Benjamin Almond. Oh, there's Brant Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Brant Lawrence would
Brant
just crush this
Lawrence.
podcast.
Oh
Like, he
my
is
God.
so inspiring. Like, he's up at 4 a.m. every morning.
Just hustling
Yeah,
hard. Hey?
yeah. And then there's one I haven't brought to light, and I don't know if it'd be politically correct. His name is Vlad.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, my name is Vlad, and I will sell for you And he's and I have a picture of Vlad.
We have
you can
there's
introduce
no
him to the
barriers.
world.
He was born. He was born in Canmore one evening. Is all I can say. Vlad showed up in a family get together.
Oh, I thought you meant like his backstory was he was literally born in
Yeah,
Canada.
that's what I thought.
That
You were
probably
going
should
with.
be his and somehow has the thickest Chechnyan accent, but raised in Canmore.
Yes.
Like,
So he's a real mountain guy, but
he is Vlad, and he will. Don't worry about Vlad.
I actually love this idea. I want every single character.
Just every
guys.
character.
I am so in.
Yes.
That would be the
What's your
funnest
week
thing.
like next weekend?
The only thing for Bugatti, I got to grow this beard out, and then I keep the mustache really good, and then I shave. So I have to shave.
All right.
So Bugatti will be the last.
Bugatti will be the last.
Yeah.
Benjamin Almond.
He'll wrap up the characters.
I think we do it. I think
Oh
that's,
my God.
that's gold right
I
there.
have
very
so
excited.
many questions for each one of those characters that are just like coming through my
And
mind.
I have so many answers
Oh my God, this would be
that I'll find out as well in the moment what they are.
Well, the videos are all gold. Like I think the one like Mary's like when she watches them, there was one that you did. You weren't like a character like that, but you're in a house and then you like pan to like or your camera guy pans to like a kid's room and you're playing with like cars.
That's my favorite one.
And then you look back at the camera, get out. That was the best. Yeah, that one we still laugh
I
about.
think that one's my favorite one.
I think that was a moment in the rise of the videos and pushing boundaries.
It was your earlier
It was
videos.
early video,
Yeah.
and it was like a moment where it pushed something, and I never came back from that. Like it's like did you
struck something
really
there.
just do that? Like you're a professional.
Yeah.
Like no, it stands out to me
The
too.
best.
that
That's
was
the
my
best.
favorite.
Get out.
There's so many though. Like, oh my God. Like I could go back and like think about like the history of your videos and just like some of the things that you have done in real estate videos is so freaking funny to me.
It's so stupid.
I love it. It's so stupid, but that's the kind of humor that we love, right? Like we just love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
my favorite humor truly, and I think the videos reflect that, is like I put this thing up on my Insta story the other day, and it's a picture of five Canadian geese on one side and like 8 on the other, like a flying V, and it says, "Do you see how there's more geese in this flying V, that it's lopsided?" And then below it says, "That is because there are more geese on one side." That for me
the
is
facts,
my
eh?
absolute favorite humor.
Yeah.
There's another one too where it's like, take these essential oils and rub them on like here and rub them on your back, and then below it says, "And you will just be very oily." And like it's the stupidest humor, but I just
So good,
love
right?
the silliness of
hilarious.
stupid humor.
Agreed.
Well, that's awesome. Like, well, I've known you for the 10 years. 10 years roughly.
Yeah.
Like, I was a year into real estate. I think you were roughly a year when we met.
Yeah, I think you were maybe a little ahead there. Yeah,
Yeah, like one of our very first, like, probably 5 deals was with each other.
Yeah, that's right.
And that out in Spruce Grove. And I remember when we met, you came to the office to either like pick up keys or drop off a deposit check, and I gave you my business card, and you were like, "Oh, this is the coolest business card ever." And it was the same photo that you liked from the sign with the brick, and I was like, I remember like because I was like, oh, just like branding myself, and I went home, I was like, oh, I met this guy and he loved my business card, and I was like so jacked about it, and now I don't have those business cards anymore, but
I authentically remember being like, that is cool. I really meant it.
Yeah, I appreciated it. Yeah,
That's how we met too, because like he had the sign with that same picture on it, and I was like, that was the original like text that, because we started doing a deal together. It was a house that we did a deal together. It was like his neighbor's house or 2 doors down or whatever. I had the buyers, he had the listing, and I was like, man, I'm like, your sign is so cool. Just like fanboying out.
Yeah, just like, a bunch of weirdos hyped on each other.
Yeah, right. And he's like, he's like, thanks. I'm like, cool. I'm like, you want to go grab a coffee sometime? Just like total stupid, weird bromance that happens out of like the dumbest thing.
yeah.
Which is kind of like you and I when we first
Oh
met,
yeah,
right?
I remember our first phone call because I think you had shown one of my $1 million listings.
Yeah.
Which actually was like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
It's very disappointing the day I went to take photos there. Like, anyways, I don't need to go into that. But you showed it, and so
Yeah.
I didn't know who you were, and I'm thinking, well, he's showing $1 million listing, so he's probably a jerk. And because that was my assumption. It's one of my first $1 million listings, so I'm like, I don't know how they do it in this luxury realm.
They're all jerks.
They're all jerks. There's only, and I remember just chatting with you and being like, oh, this guy's chill, like, and just appreciating talking with you, like.
Yeah.
We were talking about you being just who you are, right? Just being really a bud. And I just remember appreciating that. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty normal. I like talking to him. And then, you were like, hey, you want to go get a beer or something like that? And I'm like, okay.
And then I actually remember the time that you actually, like, because I can't remember when it was, but it was like shortly after that, you like texted me and you're like, so I'm sitting here watching skateboarding videos and I have like a 30-minute window. Do you want to meet for a beer? And I'm
Is that how it went? Okay.
That's how it went. Because you're like, I literally have like this much time if you want to meet. And I'm like, okay, let's go. So we went to, it was Provincial.
Yes, that's right.
Right. And we like sat down and it was literally like a speed date. It felt like a speed date. Like we were like, okay, let's just bombard each other with as many questions as we possibly can and like find out and see if we can. Yeah. It was super fun.
It felt so good to me. And even after we got off that conversation in the, like I was sitting in my driveway, my door was open and I was chatting and I honestly got off the phone and went inside and I was like, Jenna, I think that feels like a good decision to switch over to the good. Like after that conversation, it just felt right. And you weren't trying to sell me in any way. You were literally just Rob being Rob. And it just felt good.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a pitch or anything like that. I can't remember if like you
I didn't
wanted
even
to
know you
talk
were the
to me
owner
about it. Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't even know you were the owner.
Yeah.
I just thought I actually didn't even know anything until you said, oh yeah, and you never told me you were the owner in the conversation.
Oh, I didn't?
No, you just said you were at this brokerage called The Good, and so I just this
like
guy's
my
cool. And then I went and looked up after, and I'm like, oh, he owns The Good. Oh, that's cool.
I'm such a good business person.
You kind
This guy owns a business.
I believe
Don't
you're
even tell you.
failing at your job of recruiting. But actually that's who you are, and that's the way you do it, so much so that you didn't even pitch your business, which for a guy like me is the greatest pitch. I mean, I've got mortgage brokers that have reached out to me or that I did stuff with, and then they'll follow up with me later. I personally hate follow-up. I hate doing follow-up. I hate being followed up with. Like, I don't follow up with me. Like, if it's real and authentic, it's gonna happen.
Right.
And you, so it was a beautiful fit because you didn't even tell me you owned the business. Yeah. But it just felt great. And that was great.
That's awesome.
That's so interesting actually, because and I don't want to derail this but I do want to like make a mention of that because I have I actually did try that one time. Like I felt like I got into this like zone. This is a little bit vulnerable of a confession, but it's funny at the same time because I'm like, I remember at one point I was like, okay, like, you know, I am a business owner and I need to be a big boy and like try to grow my business and stuff. So there was a realtor, I'm not going to mention who she is, but
said she was a girl.
Yeah,
we can find this out.
You guys can sleuth it out later. So anyway, I was like, let's go for coffee. And like at the point when I had asked her to go for coffee, it was just like to catch up or whatever, right? Because I'd known her for a while, just like on social media, but not really connected. So anyway, went and had a coffee. It was super like normal, just like whatever. I was myself and stuff like that. But after the conversation, I did the super cringy like follow up, like hey, you know, like if you're ever interested, then like buy this brokerage, you know, we would really like, and it just, everything about it felt so wrong.
It's
and
almost
so,
like, hey, you know this meeting we've just been in? How would you rate this meeting?
Right?
Here's a questionnaire.
Yeah. Like literally the moment that I like sent that text message, I was like, I feel like I belong to an MLM of some kind, and I just hooked somebody into going for coffee. Like it felt that cringy, and I was like, immediately I was like, I'm never ever doing that again.
Totally.
So, and that was like, and this was like long after even you.
Wow.
Like this was just one point I was like, look, I need to do this, you know what I mean? And I just like, it's not me, I can't do it.
I have to share a story based on that, because it just absolutely, to echo that, unless we
Go.
So in my first year of real estate, and you're taught so many things. Here's how you do it. Here's how you gain clients and stuff. And one of the things I was taught, that we're all taught, is if somebody comes to look at your listing, so they don't have a realtor and they're coming to look at it, you got to win them over, convert them into your buyers, right? And so first year in, this couple came, and I did a great job. Here's why you should work with me. Here's I'll if it's not this house, I'll help you. And I convinced them, as I should, and I won them. And probably for the next 3 months, showed them around, showed them properties, spent my time showing properties. Never felt actual authentic connection with them. And even their mom and dad came to a property that they really like. So now I met mom and dad, but there's no foundation. So I didn't feel a connection with mom and dad. Like I felt like I wasn't a part of it.
Right.
And it was gross. It was a gross feeling.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, they had signed a buyer brokerage with me and everything. At the end of it all, they texted me and they said, Ben, we actually found a house that's for sale privately, and we're going to buy it. And so, thanks for everything, but we've already found it. And in that moment, just like you, I remember going, and this is what I felt, Ben, and this is for me. Other people do their businesses differently, but for me, that was a foundational moment of,
Sure.
Ben, this is the fruit, this is the product of you forcing things. You will waste your time. You will feel no connection. And at the end of the day, it's not their fault that they bought a house privately. You are the one that grabbed them, pulled them into, they were already on their own trajectory.
Yeah.
You fuddled their trajectory for your gain.
Right.
And this will be the result of that toil in your life. So don't do it. And actually in that moment when they called me, I said, hey, no problem. I wasn't bummed. I was like, I'm bummed at myself. I created this moment.
Yeah.
And that was first year in, and truly my posture at that point was, I'm never going to we can manhandle stuff and even get it.
Yeah.
But there's better things than that when you actually allow it to organically happen, to the point that, like the acreage we talked about, there's no way that you can manhandle that. That has to be a smooth flowing river.
Yeah.
You're just on the boat and you've got a rudder, but the river is taking you and you're just on it.
Yeah.
So totally reminds me of the
I
same
love
concept.
that story, and I love to me the big thing about that is the ownership that you're taking on that, because I feel like it's such a natural reaction to like immediately go to like blaming the clients, where they were like, oh, what a bunch of jerks, that
and you could
waste my time and then go and do that, rather than taking the position that it's like, yeah, you know what, there must have been something that I wasted through this process, or you wasted their time. Like that's even a bigger shift in like
in the least I wasted my time.
Yeah. Well, that too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we all learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Right. And that happened to me, like going off, like not being organic to myself, is I had a listing. I wanted to get the price dropped, and then I was in like a course, like a real estate course, and they had like scripts. And so I like kind of like formulated this script. I'm like, I'm gonna give this a shot because like this is a hard client. I sent it. Like 30 seconds later, I got a call, and he just like roasted me. And he's like, "What?" And I was just like, I was so thrown back, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't come across as myself.
Totally.
It was so like not me, and I got burned for it."
Yeah.
And you learn it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. It's all just trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move this bad boy along. Okay, so listen, buddy, you you have one of the funniest real estate stories. I've heard it before. Me and Justin have both heard it before. But we want you to tell us your one of your. Well, I'm sure you have a ton, but like you know exactly which one I'm talking about. Tell us your funny real estate story.
Yeah, for sure I do. And I believe Justin will be like 98 years old, surrounded by the people that love him, and be like, so what, on his deathbed, and what do you remember, Grandpa? Or like whatever. And he'll be like, oh, this one time Ben Loates.
I honestly, I tell it all the time.
I know it's your favorite story.
I tell it all the time.
And to me, it is so telling. Like when people are like, man, how are you so successful in real estate? How have you done this? This story is proof that I have no idea. This story is...
Which is really the theme of this whole podcast.
Yeah. I know something's working. However, this story I'm about to tell is absolutely proof that there's something greater than me making this all work. So I'm in Fort Saskatchewan showing so many houses, like probably 14 houses that day, to some wonderful people. Shout out to Tony Churchill. Love you guys. And so we're looking at houses, and there's this one house. We were looking at 2 in this neighborhood, and we were like 8 houses in. And right before this house, and I tell this to give context for the weirdness of my brain, why I made the decision later. We showed this house that was a rental, and the realtor had just given a quick text. Hey, front door might be locked. There's like this way that you can work that out if they locked it. So that this is in my brain. Yeah, open a door around house 8. So I showed that house. We go to this next house in this neighborhood, and we pull up, go to the front door, and I go to open the door, and it's got that like little chain lock on it. Yeah. So the door's unlocked, and I don't know why I didn't think about the lock box. I don't know why. Like, oh, there's no lock box.
Well, because you had that text that was like,
from
if the door's locked, then
so
this is your next move.
So somehow the transfer of that was specific to that house didn't translate to them. I actually don't. My poor wife has to be married to me, and whatever this realm decides in a moment is good. Yeah. And so gunk. The door's got about that much room on it right there. And my brain just goes, oh, no problem, guys. And I don't know if it's being extroverted. Like in the moment, you're like, we got this. Hey, guys. Like sometimes extroverts are so dumb. I'm an extrovert. And
problem solver kicks in.
Hey, guys, we got this. So, and I remember saying, no problem. I got piano fingers, is what I said to them. So I reach in and I undo the little chain, and we go into the house. And we start walking around. House looks pretty good, and it was a good showing. And we go up and down, and out of all these houses, it was kind of a dud day. They actually were really liking this one. So it was a good showing. Left my card, and shut the door. Onto our next 5 houses. No big deal. And it was probably on my way home from Fort Sask. My client sends me a text and goes, hey, we never saw that one room with the green wall in it in that listing. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh, like really in my world, I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, there's so many houses. And then they're like, they text me, they're like, I don't think that was the house in that neighborhood. So I pull my car over and I look, and like the address is like 1 Adelaide Court, and the other one is like 1 Adelaide Crescent. So I just have this moment of like epic hot sweat, like, and you almost
I know that.
And the fullness of the reality doesn't hit you. Like you're like,
yeah, oh no.
And like where your body just starts sweating, like the whole body sweats. Yeah. And so I realize I broke into somebody's house.
You're going to jail.
I full on break and entered. And left my business card.
That's the best part.
That's the best part. You leave the tracing.
The worst B&E ever.
Yeah.
I was here.
I was like, I can't believe I just did that. It was like, I didn't even think twice about it. Didn't have any spidey senses of being like, hey, you're illegal right now. So anyways, told them, oh my gosh, guys, okay. So I of course went back, bought these people 3 different expensive gift cards and flowers, and wrote a card and left it on their doorstep. And I think I wrote something like, I am just terrified and so sorry that I did that. And then I also wrote, also though, out of the 13 houses we looked at, yours was their favorite. So anyways, left that on their doorstep, and
and then a week later you were doing a deal on the house.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so There you go.
That is so freaking funny.
I can just feel Jenna, my wife, right now. Like if she's watching this podcast, just her hand shaking, just because this is part and parcel of her 16 years married to me. Is like Ben's heart was so pure.
Yeah.
He was just good to go and loving everybody around him. Yeah. Also, a cat is dead. Yeah. And I don't know why the cat's dead, but he was in the room at the time. And now Susan's cat is dead, and Susan is so sad, and Ben has no idea. And this is Jenna just going, "Oh, it's not a funny story. That is not a funny story."
Tornado Ben was through here.
Tornado Ben. It was a pretty tornado. He was a very fun tornado.
Yeah.
However,
so here's a question about that though. Did the people that lived in that house ever like call you and like say anything, like, or did they just accept the gifts and leave it?
That's it.
I
never heard.
You never heard anything.
No, I never heard a like.
So they were just like, well, someone broke into our house, showed themselves around, left us some nice things.
No, because I left my card. They texted me.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Oh, I wish I could find that text.
What was the paraphrase it for us?
Oh, well, it was like, "Hi."
Best way to start that text. Hi.
Hi, we found your business card in our house and we're confused. And there's no amount of extrovert at that point. There's no amount of exclamation marks in a text that you can like, hey guys, yeah. Like, it is my business card.
What's the follow up?
Yeah, there's no extroverting.
Funny story. I have an explanation for that.
Funny story. Get it. 3 smiley faces. No,
you got to take a few chain links off your door because I can get in.
Yeah, have you ever heard of piano fingers?
Yeah. It's not very safe.
That is the name of the story. It's okay, guys. I have piano fingers.
Full extrovert in that moment. Just a joke, a little, facetious. Like as I break into someone's house.
Oh, God.
I think I just wrote, I broke into I showed your house and undid your lock. And I thought it was Adelaide Court. And there was another... please let me make this up to you. It was something like, and I truly like waited, I think, for another 40 minutes for them to text back and was like, as a realtor, sometimes you make some mistakes and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, they're probably trying to digest the information.
He walked through my house.
Yeah.
There was actually a guy.
Probably for probably for a week. They were thinking about that. There were 3 random people wandering around,
just judging the house. Like you broke in to judge somebody's house.
Can you imagine if you sent back the text and you were like, "Yeah, so we showed your house, but they didn't really like the kitchen. It's kind of shitty."
Yeah, just give them feedback.
It's a little dark in there.
They prefer white cabinets, not the oak. But we're sending an offer that reflects.
It will be reflecting the oak, though. Yeah. Our offer will be reflecting the oak, just so you know. But it's not personal.
Yeah. And can you pick up your dog shit next time?
It smells like cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I noticed you're not represented.
Yeah.
Would you like? I know there's probably some realtors that are like, I can pull this one. I'm going to win these guys over. I know. Listen, I know I broke into your house. However,
and they're going to follow up.
Yeah, they're following up. Mortified. Oh my gosh.
Oh God, I am crying. That's so good. So freaking
it's
good.
The best story.
Oh, I don't know how anything can beat that.
Probably. Oh man.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into the next section with that. I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
Well, do we need to take a quick pause on that?
We might. Yeah, let's do a quick pause and then we'll just
splice
reset.
It together.
Deflated.
Yeah, I mean, I could come up with more.
Come up with more on the spot. What's your favorite color?
Yeah. 6-year-old Ben.
Yeah. How many fingers do you have?
Oh yeah, you gotta clap.
Oh yeah. Hey, you.